Does visualization help you have a better birth? That is the question that we are going to sit down here and answer today, and come into some of the positive sides of visualization and some of the downsides of visualization. The research is clear. Visualization does, in fact, help us have better outcomes. If we set our mind to something, if we visualize it, if we think it through, it can really impact the outcome. Even gold medal Olympian Simone Biles reports to use visualization to help her win all of those gold medals. I think in birth, it's a really great tool to help you focus on what you want from your birth and start thinking and planning about that. And as you build more intention towards it, really focusing positive energy on creating the birth that works really well for you. Visualization, in a way, is part of birth planning, thinking through what you want your birth to look like, what your optimal birth experience would look like, what empowered birth for you looks like. And that might be different for you than for me, or your neighbor, or your best friend. What is your tolerance for laboring without pain medication? Are you dedicated to having a home birth in a birth tub? Are you really wanting to use the nurse midwives at your hospital? What is the outcome that for you is the ultimate outcome, and finding what that might be and working towards that goal. Visualizing gives us this tool that allows that clarity to come, and therefore that working towards that purpose. Where I see any downsides around visualization is in thinking that visualizing is the only thing that you have to do in order to have the birth that you want. And that simply isn't true. I can't imagine Simone Biles just woke up one day, got off her couch, and went and tried out for the Olympics. That's simply impossible, because there, of course, has to be some preparation in order for her to win at the Olympics. No one can just get off the couch and do what she has done. Because people think that birth is a natural process, that they don't have to do any preparation. And I think that leads to a lot of disappointment, because in the end, yes, birth is natural, but we also live in a society that has told us to fear birth and has told us that we should do certain things in order to have a certain birth. And so if we want to deviate from that, there's going to be some work involved in doing that. I mean, no one just runs a marathon without trying. And if they did, they'd probably be in pretty poor shape, or they might not make it through all the way, or they might cave at some point. And so in order to bring your manifestation into reality, there needs to be some prep work. Get a childbirth education class, find educational content, read books, find support. If you only have people around you who are naysaying your goals, that also is probably going to be a big deterrent. So get people around you, like a doula, that can help support you in that vision. Simone Biles didn't figure out how to do the perfect floor routine just by Googling and reading books. She also had coaches and spent a tremendous amount of time preparing for that event. Of course, birth isn't gymnastics, and you aren't going to need tens of years of practice and to be spent, since childhood preparing for the event, but still spending a good amount of time preparing before birth is going to help you get ready for that birth, and to feel like when you're going into it, you feel that confidence of knowing that you've put in the work to have the birth that you were hoping for. Another place that I feel like manifesting your birth has some pitfalls is when, if things don't go your way, you feel like either you didn't manifest well enough, or you're not good enough, or any of those negative feelings about your birth outcome. When it comes down to it, there's a lot of different ways that birth can go, and some of it we have control over, and some of it we can manifest. And then sometimes health issues come up, sometimes baby is in a funky position. There's a variety of things that can happen that really are beyond our control. And so manifesting and also having some openness about your birth unfolding the way that it needs to for you and your baby. One of the things I just don't like, and this happened to me after my birth didn't go exactly as I wanted it, where you scroll the internet and are like, oh, if I'd only done this thing, maybe my baby, maybe I wouldn't have had to transfer to the hospital. If I'd only done this thing, maybe I wouldn't have needed that intervention, or maybe I didn't manifest enough, maybe I didn't do all the right things to have the right birth. And I think in the end, our birth experience is what it is, and it's a really big experience. We're bringing a lot of cultural ideas in with us, whether known and unknown. We're bringing our history, our body's history, our baby. There's a lot that goes into a birth. And so if you find yourself at the end of your birth not getting everything you want, just know we're human. Just know you are enough and your birth was enough. And I'm just also holding you in that feeling of disappointment, because that can be real too. So for me, manifestation is problematic in when it sets up for feeling less than if that didn't happen. And this is where I think, rather than thinking about having a perfect birth scenario, that thinking about what an empowered birth would look like for you is even more powerful, because it allows you to have the space to think about what empowerment in birth means to you. And certainly thinking about what your ideal scenario is really powerful, and working towards that. In my years of working as a doula, one of the things that I've seen to be true is that satisfaction with your birth is less about the actual outcome of the birth and more about feeling empowered along the way. So if things end up going not exactly as you planned, you feel empowered making the right choices for you and your body and your baby along the way. I've had people who come away from having a cesarean feeling pretty satisfied with the outcome, because they felt like they tried everything and they made empowered choices along the way. And for them, that felt really important, and they felt good about their outcome, even though it wasn't the outcome that they were planning for. And that's where having support like a doula can be really important, to help feel like as you make the decisions as your birth happens, that you made the best decision possible for you and your baby. And you felt supported in that, so you questioned it less. The last way that I see that using manifestation can negatively impact our birth is when we don't also address the fears that we have around our birth. It is so normal to both have desires and fears around birth. And if we don't look at the fears that we have around our birth, they can have more power over us. It also sometimes can be an intuition that we are having about our birth. And the more that we look at that fear, address it, see if we can make a plan for that thing that we're fearing in case it does happen, that we feel prepared to take it on, the more likely that we are going to be able to deal with that well in the moment. If we don't address the fears, the fear can kind of gather its own attention. Some might say that fear is the attention that builds on that. If we're not addressing the fear, one, it can kind of take attention away from our goals. Two, sometimes that fear is an intuition about something that could happen. And if we address that fear, we can make a plan for if that happens in birth, so that you feel more prepared going into it rather than sideswept by the something that you knew might happen. And addressing our fears is equally important in preparing for our birth as manifesting the thing that we want, as visualizing the thing that we want. So, if my baby is not in a good position, what kinds of things can I do? What resources that I have? If I get stuck at this certain point, if I don't have enough energy for my birth, how can I bring more resources into that? It's a really powerful tool as well to look at our fears in birth as well as our well wishes for our birth. And so I think that having a really balanced way of looking at our birth can be really as powerful as just visualizing the positive that we want for our birth. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. You can hit the follow and the bell button to get notified about more of my videos when I release them, and see you in the next video.